I was just talking about this, and I was telling people to watch out for what's going on with digital wallets. And there's a good reason for that. I'm telling you, you got to watch what these banks and the bank coin companies are doing. It tells the entire story of trillions. Now, what has Ripple been doing, folks? They've been acquiring a lot of companies the last 3 years. Have they not? Well, I won't say a lot of companies, but they're very strategic. Custody, anyone? Custody services, anyone? Acquiring a custody business, anyone remember that? With a custody business, you also will be issuing or potentially issuing for private ecosystems digital wallets, which means that the entirety of those systems will have capital flowing through your system built on the XRPL, utilizing XRP. Everything that touches the XRPL will touch and affect XRP. David Schwartz said that. Wait, there's more. See, this is how you know we're on the right path. We're putting everything together. We're good detectives here. Who else has a great relationship, or rather, not who else, who has a great relationship with the Monetary Authority of Singapore? Ripple. Interesting. Monetary Authority of Singapore and Ripple have worked on a multitude of different projects, including the CBTC platform. And what's this article here? What is this? Singapore businesses embrace digital wallets. Folks, they're opening the door around the world. DLT is being unleashed around the world. Are you seeing it? This is why, even though we're talking trillions when we talk the US, there is a global flood of capital. This is not a joke. It's very serious. A global flood of capital coming for DLT. Now, at some point, it's going to be all about which companies are working the hardest and going after it and actuating on all of this opportunity. And if you watch, you're going to see who's going to be winners. Is going to be apparent. But wait, so Ripple has a great relationship with the Monetary Authority of Singapore. Also, but that's not it. What did they say in a lot of those articles? Not only that, Ripple has a great relationship with a lot of the businesses in Singapore. Remember that? Go back and read those articles. They're on Google. I'm sure Yahoo and Bing will bring them up also. Read them. And you'll see. And Ripple just happens to be in the custodying service business. Interesting, isn't it? Wait. No. I'm not letting you get away. No. You knew I was going to go here. Some of you who are very erudite and wise. What were the... See, this is why it's good to read the banking news. What were all of those articles about towards the beginning of 2025? I got to squint. That's when I'm remembering something. You see that? Towards the beginning of 2025, the end of 2024. What were all those articles about that the banks were putting out? Do you remember what they were saying? Right. They were talking about digital wallets, how they're needed, how they desired them. They wanted to get into digital wallets. I'm paraphrasing, but you can read those articles yourself. I mean, and the videos are still up. If you can find them, they're still there. Now, hold on. Wait a minute. Who has, allegedly, this is what they say, who has a bunch of banks in their back pocket? Who? It just happens to also be into custodying services, able to do all types of cross-border payments. They're able to do payroll. They're able to do intrabank or interbank payments, whichever the intra, whichever. You know what I mean. Who does all of that and just happens to have a relationship with all of these banks? Ripple. You throw SBI in there as well. You throw Uphold in there as well, since they want to play. Pretty much anybody on the XRPL. But Ripple. Well, let's just use them as an example, because they're right there. You don't find all of that suspicious? Once again, there are reasons. This company Very interesting, this company Ripple. They're not playing any games. That XRP, listen, folks, they know what they have. Why do you think they didn't say it again when they were talking about, oh, we want to maximize the value of XRP? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? I know what you mean. Everybody else will say, we know what it means, Mick. But there's so many that just believe that, oh, Ripple has XRP because of utility. What do they mean by that? Why did they say that? They're going to maximize the value of XRP. Then they just got quiet. That got buried. You had SBI saying the exact same thing. They want to maximize the value of XRP. XRP is considered for the digital asset stockpile. Why? You think that everyone, when I say everyone, I mean from top to bottom, retail, a lot of retail people. Well, when I first got here, they hated XRP. I'm going to tell you right now. But the love for XRP has grown for sure. So you got retail. Regular businesses love XRP as well. You got that. You got the people at the top, politicians and central bankers. They love XRP as well, apparently. Top to bottom. You think that's for nothing? You only have a few at the top that they take serious. They're going to push that price of everything at the top. They're going to squeeze that sponge dry before it's too late, before retail gets hip to it, before retail gets smart. Most of retail still sitting on the side. It's not that time yet. Not yet. You'll see it. It'll be apparent when it is. So you have Bitcoin. They're going to max that price if they can. But they know that they can make more with lower price coins because they can go higher. They're going to max out, in my humble opinion, not financial advice. They're going to max out Solana. We'll see about Chainlink. I believe they're going to max Chainlink also, but they don't talk about Chainlink as much, even though Chainlink is one of the absolute most bullish ever. Absolute most bullish coins of all time. But my humble opinion, we'll see. Chainlink is on that list. And XRP, these are the top ones. ETH is there. Of course, Ethereum is going to be there. But XRP is there. And it's at the top. It's in the top 3, and I don't think it's number 3. You think they're not going to max out that price on XRP? Even if they didn't want to, they couldn't stop it. I don't think they could stop it. The wheels are the machine is already rolling globally. So if they didn't max, here's the problem that they face and why I believe they're going to max it out. And this is going aside from the utility, the interbank payments, definitely going to make an impact. There's no way around that in a multitude of ways, whether you're talking about private ecosystems and then the companies deciding what they're going to do once they have the deployments. They have the technology. They do what they want with it. It's not for Ripple to run everything. They can hand you infrastructure, and what you do with it is up to you. Right. So let's say some companies want to hold XRP. They can do that. They don't want to. They can keep it in flow. They can do that also. They want to buy from Ripple and just keep doing that, even though that's tedious. I don't understand why you would do that. It's quite foolish, but they could do that as well. They could offer XRP to their employees here. We have this offering. You work hard enough. We give you a little XRP. We take a little cut off the top. We stake it for you. We delegate it. That's all going to be possible in the future. If not, that would be foolish. You have a multitude of companies looking to maximize the value of XRP. How are they going to do that without lending, delegation, staking, etc.? Like, that's going to have to be possible. And you had other chains working on bringing that possibility as well, like Flare, etc. We'll see what happens with that. But just as an example. So listen, putting that to the side, interbank payments, B2B, retail payments, payroll, all of these different things, all of these different uses, including digital asset stockpile. If the U.S. is going to do that, other countries are going to follow suit. They're going to want a piece of the action. Nobody's cutting themselves out of action. And when you're the big dog on the block, it's just how it is, whether you just disagree or not. The U.S. holds weight. They hold substance. So when they do something, someone else is going to see that. They say, I'm going to do that as well because I want to win. Other countries are going to do that. We've literally read articles where before they start loosening regulations on crypto, other countries literally said, I read it here on the channel. Anybody can read those articles. And they said, we're going to wait to see what U.S. does first. So they do follow. All right. So digital wallets, banks, these are more bank connections. the bank money in a multitude of ways. They're lining it up right in front of everybody's face. It's unbelievable what's happening. You just have to see it, all right? Seeing is believing with most people. They just have to see it. The problem is a lot of this information is here today, is gone tomorrow. It's gone tomorrow, you know. It's not the flashiest news. It gets buried. So most people do not know this. You can't just tell them either. People don't believe. You could be super close with somebody. You can't just tell them. They believe what they see. That's the world that we live in. That's what we live in. So now let me read a little tidbit. I'm going to read a little tidbit to you, okay? Singapore. Cross-border payments may sound simple, but their reality is anything but. No. But I notice how all of you, when it comes to digital wallets, and even though you yourself, let's say the Monetary Authority of Singapore, various businesses in Singapore, we've heard from, we watched them sit on panels. We watch financial representatives of the industry sit on panels and speak. Anybody can search it on YouTube and watch multiple videos. So we know that you plan on using digital currencies in a multitude of ways. We know you're going to use your digital wallets from a variety of different things. But you and a lot of people in the financial industry, you play this game, but you can't play with us. We're wise here. You can't listen. We're very wise. I'm just going to put it that way without sounding arrogant. You want to focus our minds on cross-border payments. You don't have that power. They don't have that power. They don't. But they notice that they want you to focus on. What about interbank payments? What about payroll? What about offline QR code payments? What about that? We've heard you speak about that a lot. What about that? Right. Nope. Just focus on cross-border payments because that's what people are familiar with. Correct. So it keeps them from being too bullish because, I heard it all before. That's how people take that news. It's a psychological technique. I heard it before. They're not too excited about it. It doesn't make them extra bullish. It makes them no more bullish than they already were when they heard about cross-border payments years ago. But that doesn't work on me. So it's cracking the code for sending payments between countries. Right. Hence why you had this great relationship with Ripple, all of this different testing, etc. In Singapore. It says whether for individuals or businesses. Right. All the money. Right. Has taken up, and that's just my ideas. Maybe someone else sees something else. To each his own. This is my path. It says has taken up much of the focus on innovation across payments for at least the past few decades. It says as the payments ecosystem continues to evolve, well, a portion of it is evolving. A portion of it is going to the wayside, hence the new financial system. Digital wallets are increasingly emerging, mostly in 2025, hence why you're in a rush. You need things that can deploy right now. Although I'll say this, and it's not specific to Singapore, but a variety of you different financial powerhouses are talking about, we're still going to do testing in 2025 and we'll think about deployment in the next 2 to 3 years. Right. You're waving the white flag. Ripple, Theyre, Chainlink, Solana, Cardano, they're ready to deploy right now. Hence why I think they're going to dominate globally. You're going to utilize their services. A lot of these financial institutions, they need to come into alignment with certain standards as well, so they don't face penalties. How are they going to do that if you're just dragging your feet on this? The only way they can do that is through the new financial system. Even if you wanted to float the idea of, well, they'll use this now and they could trade off later. They could swap it out later. That's true. They could swap it out later. I don't think they're going to. The only time you swap something out is when there was an inferior product there to begin with. But if the product you start out with is superior, there is no need to swap. Boom. Got you. Right. Data from the March 2025 global movement, quote, global money movement, Singapore edition, unquote, a payments intelligence and TerraPay collaboration reveals that with the total value of Singapore's international trade, that is going to be a slippery slope into the future. Hence why DLT is going to rule. Smart contracts for everybody. I'm telling you, make sure, hey, you got to obey our rules. We must obey your rules. We keep everything fair. If you have to pay this tax, it's automatic. Smart, I'm telling you, smart contracts, AI, DLT, low fees, low cost. So anyway, value of Singapore's international trade and services reaching nearly $750 billion in 2024. Question I would ask here is, how much is that going to increase over the next 5 years? So the city-states, businesses, and consumers alike are increasingly recognizing the advantages of digital wallets. Look at what they just told you. The city-states, businesses, and consumers, they're literally telling you. It says increasingly recognizing. They're literally telling you the golden age is coming. This is happening globally. Globally. There's a flood of capital coming to crypto. No one can avoid it. Although I know a lot of people are going to go against that. They can do that, to each his own. Not financial advice. If you're looking at this type of information, real information, you could see it coming. This is a matter of whoever's going to be involved at that time, knowing who the winners are going to be. Clearly, utility is going to be a factor. Clearly, and even if we look at something facile and superficial, as far as popularity, that which is going to be in use more is going to have a lot of word of mouth, right? Where people are going to talk about it positively and their experiences with it positively. Number two, there is the possibility of more advertisements. Heck, we saw a little bit of advertisements 3 years ago from some of these utility coin companies. And that was right when we were about to going into the bloody bear market. How much more advertising could they possibly do now? How much more could they do now that things are going to be positive? And that hasn't even happened yet. That hasn't even happened yet. So all of this is going to equal out to a push where businesses become more aware, which could bring in more business, of these utility coins. Also, with regular people, they'll become more aware, and that could bring more retail. If you're worried about retail money, that could bring more retail money. Some people like that. They think of retail as sprinkles on the top, and they're very short term. So that pays to have that short term liquidity involved. I'm a bank money person myself. I'm hunting a big fish. I want that big fish. It's not just about value. I want that championship. I want that trophy. That's just my way. You don't have to think that way. That's just my way. All right. So now let's go here to, let's see here, a little bit of Bitcoin news. Squeeze a little bit of that in here. So now, bear with me one moment. I just want to make sure of something. Look at these prices from the last video to this one. Look what they're saying. Now, this is interesting. It says this, okay? Bitcoin price to break $125,000. Pretty positive. Okay, is that possible? Sure. We have a lot of catalysts, but let's continue on with the title. Then they have to balance out the positivity with a negative, of course. It says, but sell everything in October. No. No. That's not my way. I'm not doing that. You don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. You don't. I don't trust. I don't know you, Mr. Analyst. I don't trust you. But I will look at what you're writing here. We're going to read it. Let me give you an opportunity to explain yourself. All right. But you don't just, that's a good provocative title, but you don't tell me what to do, sir. So Bitcoin's price action. I will sell Bitcoin at some point for sure, but I will keep 25%. I will sell 75%. I will keep 25% just in case. Yeah. Bitcoin has a lot of potential. Just my way. Hey, I only speak for myself. I only represent myself. Bitcoin's price action in recent weeks has mostly been highlighted by a trading range between $80,000 and $85,000, with a struggle to reclaim buying pressure. Despite the current lack of strong bullish momentum, many crypto analysts are banking on a bullish continuation and a new Bitcoin price all-time high before the end of 2025. I believe that that's definitely possible. We shall see. The catalysts are there. According to crypto analyst Trading Shot, Bitcoin could be approaching the final leg of this bull cycle. We shall see. It's the final leg of the bull cycle if all catalysts have been fully actualized. Am I wrong in saying that? I could be wrong in saying that. That's how I feel right now. Do these catalysts seem like something they're going to put off for a long time? It doesn't seem that way to me, but I'm keeping my eye on it. I'm staying adjustable. It says here, predicting a peak above $125,000. However, this analysis comes with a caveat that an extended bear market might roll in by October 2025. You're confusing me with this. This analysis comes with a caveat. Then why did you make it sound negative at the top? Sell everything. It says sell everything in October. Then it says sell everything by October. Then it says, okay, no, not this individual. So many crypto analysts are banking on a bullish continuation. Okay. No. Wait, no. This is according to crypto analyst Trading Shot. It says, however, this analysis comes with a caveat. So this is that person's analysis. An extended. Oh man, that was my fault. Extended bear market. I'm not. Why was my mind seeing bull market? I am but a person. They can make mistakes. I can make mistakes as well. See, but I corrected. See, that's the one thing I corrected. Okay. Extended bear market might roll in. Why? Now you got to justify that. Why? Did the countries finish buying up all the Bitcoin? How much? One, did the countries finish buying their allotment of Bitcoin that they want? A lot of countries are talking about having an allotment of Bitcoin. When is that going to end? Because if we're going by what happened with gold, as much as central banks and different powerhouses have been buying gold consistently for years now, you see where gold's price went? You see where gold was? Look at where was gold 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago? Where was gold then? Look at the charts. So we see that by that type of consistent buying by central banks and other powerhouses, it boosts that price significantly. That hasn't happened for Bitcoin yet. So when do they stop if they begin? When? So how? And that's just two. That's merely two catalysts. Not to mention that there are states that are looking to get into Bitcoin as well. Those first two catalysts and questions I asked also apply to the states. That's just three. That's just three catalysts. There's more. Where does that end? So how does one confidently say, well, there's an extended bear market? And to each his own. Listen, your opinion is your own and my opinion is mine. But I'm just saying we're having a discussion here. And it's like, how do you say such a thing? You could be right. This person could be right. I could be wrong. I could be right. They could be wrong. I'm just saying. I love this stuff. I do. Let's see. It says, based on, okay, so they're doing this sort of analysis. It says it's based on over a decade of symmetrical Bitcoin market behavior. Listen, here's a piece of paper with all that data on it. Whoosh, whoosh, rip it up. Throw it in the air like confetti. Means nothing. Everything has changed. Everything. The catalysts have changed. The players involved have changed. It's no longer, the whales that tell you to hold right now and then they sell it. No, they're not in charge anymore. Large asset managers are in charge now. Nations are in charge now. The game has changed, folks. It's like when you have a reset on Earth, an asteroid comes down and smashes the Earth, right? The big, what was that called? The big extinction, where like a huge percentage of life on Earth just went away, like 80% to 90%, something like that. You heard about that? The Great Extinction. It's a theory, of course. But I'm just saying, it's like that. All of life, theoretically, this is what they say, had to begin again. It was all different because of that. That's like what's happening now in DLT crypto. Everything has changed. All the old stuff, you got to throw that out. It's not relevant like it once was. So that's how I look at it. It's a new day, new age. We need to be focused on the catalysts that are at hand. And that's going to tell you everything you need to know. If countries are going to be buying, if states are going to be buying, We'll see what banks are going to be involved. You think they're not going to be involved in Bitcoin? Come on now. Banks try to make money off of your money that you just got from your job. Lend that out. And you go back to get your 200,000. Go get your 200,000 right now. I ain't got to wait a couple days. What do you need it for? Sign it. They use your money. What do you think they're not going to use? Bitcoin? Come on now. Come on. Yes, they are. So we'll see. So what I'm saying is I would rather, I would rather observe, adjust accordingly, and trust in myself, like as if I'm you, like trust in yourself more than anyone else. I would never tell you something otherwise or different. So Bitcoin remains super bullish in my humble opinion, but that's just my opinion. Now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.